Hey everyone, we're back with Sean Folkson from Nightfood. For those who haven't seen him, been a couple months. Wanted to go over a few updates today, also redefine kind of Nightfood and what they're doing. Sean, welcome back. How are you?
Thanks so much, Jason. I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, fantastic. I know we wanted to jump into some Nightfood stuff. Can you, for the audience, a lot of people who aren't familiar with Nightfood, kind of just define what Nightfood's doing?
Sure. So, before I like to talk about the product or even the company, I really always like to start with the opportunity, which is defined by the consumer problem and what we're doing to solve that for the customer and for the consumer. Because without that, and we take it out of context, I think it just doesn't do justice to the size and the enormity of what we're doing. And the reason for that is that the reality is that over 85% of Americans snack regularly at night. So this is a really big problem. And it's not just that they're snacking. I guess it would be okay if they were eating carrot sticks or rice cakes, but those are not the most popular things, right? It's exactly what you would expect. It's cookies, chips, candy, and of course, ice cream. And these are things that, consumers understand to be generally unhealthy, but I don't think most people understand that not only are these things unhealthy, but they also can disrupt sleep when eaten before bed, and that's when people are eating a lot of these unhealthy choices. And so, what we've seen over the last 10 or 15 years, there's been plenty of companies out there in what's called the better for you nutrition or better for you snack space, and everything from Skinny Pop to Halo Top. There's healthier versions of popcorn and ice cream and everything in between, and it's great, right? It's great that there's healthier options out there, but with almost half of all snacking taking place between dinner and bed, nobody's ever addressed the specifics of nutrition and how it relates to sleep. And so Nightfood is the first company that's ever come along and said, look, we know that people are snacking at night. We know they're making their least healthy choices of the day. And we understand, the biological reasons for that. We know that cravings get stronger as it gets later in the day. We know that willpower gets weaker. We know that the satiety mechanism changes and the reward centers of the brain change. And so people tend to not only make less healthy choices, but they also tend to eat more. So we understand all of that and we know the importance of that. And so, against that backdrop, that's when it makes sense that now there's an ice cream and ultimately, more snack options for people that are already snacking at night. And that's really what Night Food is about. It is the problem that we're solving, and we think it's a massive problem. Not just in the United States, where just in the U.S. there's over $1 billion a week being spent on snacks that are consumed just in that short window of time between dinner and bed. So that's just in the United States. But what we've seen is globally, most of the developed nations in the world exhibit the same type of snack pattern where people are making these less healthy choices shortly before bed. So there's a massive opportunity there. And at Nightfood, we're the leaders. We're the only company really addressing this right now for the consumer.
Yeah, trendsetter, and we'll get to that in a second. I would love to. Can you give us a little bit more detail about sleep friendly? Like, what does really sleep friendly mean?
Sure. So again, this is where it's really important that everybody starts with the understanding and remembering that our customers are already snacking at night. They're already eating something. And so a lot of what sleep friendly is helping them maybe to avoid some of what they might otherwise be eating, and as well as providing sleep friendly and sleep supporting ingredients. So what that means is, if you look at a traditional ice cream, a full fat, full sugar ice cream, like a Haagen Dazs, like a Ben and Jerry's, or a gelato like Talenti, those things tend to have a lot more sugar, a lot more fat, and a lot more calories. And you really don't want that stuff before bed. So at Nightfood, we've got less fat, less sugar, fewer calories. Okay, so that's a little bit of what they call, right, addition by subtraction. We also have more protein, more prebiotic fiber. So these things help you, they help fill you up or sate you and make you feel satisfied with less. Also lowers the glycemic impact of whatever you've eaten, helps maintain a healthier gut and intestine. We'll talk about that in a few minutes. In addition, we've added certain vitamins and minerals that our sleep experts have identified as being beneficial when taken before bed or when consumed before bed. And so compared to regular ice creams, we've got more magnesium. we've got more calcium, we've got more zinc, we've got more vitamin B6. Nightfood is lactose free. So a lot of it, again, is addition by addition, like I just mentioned, but a lot of it is addition by subtraction. And that all comes from the fact that we are not sleep friendly in the sense that we're creating this as a sleep aid or for somebody who just has trouble sleeping, but they're not a nighttime snacker. That's not our customer. Our customer is somebody who is already snacking at night and would prefer, like most people, would prefer to sleep a little bit better. And that's our customer, and that is what sleep friendly means, is to support that goal.
Yeah, well, it almost feels like you're talking about me. I mean, eat popcorn at 10 p.m. Oh, I'm a little too hungry to go to bed. Obviously, the perfect fit. So awesome. And how many times do we all hear on a weekly basis that, oh, I didn't sleep too well last night, or this or that from certain people? It sounds like night food is perfectly kind of on trend. Seems like it's an extremely interesting product. Every time I mention it to someone, they always want to try it out. The responses seem to be pretty amazing.
Well, yeah, what we have is really, I think, super interesting to people. I mean, we've gotten so much media coverage. We've been featured in the Wall Street Journal and USA Today and Oprah Magazine. We've been on the Today Show. We've been on Rachel Ray. And I think it comes from the fact, we're combining, two things, ice cream and sleep. And I think for a lot of people, those are two of their favorite things, and two things that I think a lot of people, never seem to be able to get enough of. And what I want to point out to people is we're not an ice cream company. We are kind of the nighttime snacking company. And ultimately, we want to be able to deliver to people all of those food formats that they like to snack on at night. I think you mentioned popcorn, is your favorite. For me, it's ice cream. But there's people out there that like to eat candy or cookies, and we can deliver better options. I mean, I think in the last 15 years or so, we've gone from energy drinks, we've seen energy waffles, energy pancakes, energy candy, energy gum, energy cookies. And now, we've got that opportunity to do the same thing with sleep, because this is what people are eating at night. And they want functional benefits from their snacks these days. That's what we've seen. And really, nighttime and sleep is the only area where that hasn't really become mainstream just yet.
Seems like you guys are on trend, obviously, with the reactions that we're seeing in the market. People, even just the conversations I'm having, and this is awesome that you're saying that you're going to be looking at other products. Talk me through some of the industry developments you're seeing, as kind of the CEO of this nighttime snacking company.
Well, yeah. So, when we first launched, we right away won the 2019 Product of the Year Award. And then we also won 2019 World Dairy Innovation Award for Best New Ice Cream. And, from there, we've seen a lot of interest within the industry. We've seen the CEOs of Mondelez and Kellogg's and Nestle executives talking about people snacking at night. And don't be fooled. I mean, the big snack companies and the ice cream company, they know when people are eating their ice cream, and they know that nighttime is a very important occasion for them. We've seen Nestle executives specifically talk about that their research tells them that people want better choices before bed. And now, more recently, Pepsi just launched a product called Driftwell, which is their first entry into the sleep and relaxation space. And it's a beverage, positioned as a sleep supporting and relaxation supporting drink. And just in March now, so just a few weeks ago, Unilever, which is the world's largest ice cream company, they announced a partnership with a company out of Australia called Microba Labs. And what they're looking at together is the gut microbiome and how our gut communicates with our brain through the gut-brain axis, and how can we influence better sleep, which a lot of that is influenced by the gut and the bacteria in our gut. How can we use diet? How can we use nutrition? How can we use food to influence that to deliver better sleep to the consumer? So what we've seen here since we've launched is a lot more interest from the global food and beverage companies. And now with Unilever taking a big step, and they're launching this year-long research project to look at the gut and sleep. And it's great because all these companies, all these big companies, they're looking at it, they're validating our premise. And while they're, pondering their next move and researching and trying to figure out exactly how big the market is and how they want to go at it, we're out there, we're rolling into Walmart, we're in Kroger's and Albertsons, we're rolling into hopefully hotels across the United States. And we just think we're going to be in a great position. And, when the big guys want to come in, we're going to be there, and it's really going to validate the category. And it seems to me, the word I always use, Jason, is inevitable. It's inevitable.
Yeah, well, you already said a lot of these big companies already looking at this kind of sector, and what seems like a massive opportunity and a growing trend. It looks like you guys have a big opportunity to make a splash, to make an impact.
Yeah, the really great thing about it is, like I mentioned, there's a lot of healthier products out there, better for you, maybe cleaner ingredients or lower calorie, less fat, less sugar, and that's all great. But for us to be able to influence how somebody sleeps at night, I don't know that there's a bigger, lever point or leverage point in somebody's health than the quality of their sleep. So if we're able to help people sleep a little bit better, that radiates into every aspect of our lives. It's not just about feeling less tired the next day and having more energy, right? It's about how your metabolism burns. It's about how you process sugar. It's about your cravings. It's about your willpower. It's about your ability to make good, rational decisions. It's about your relationships, with your spouse. It's about how you physically look. I mean, people talk about beauty sleep. There's real research that supports that. When you're well rested, you look better. And there's a lot of long-term, long-range health impacts when you don't sleep well. So if we can really help people that are already snacking at night and help them sleep a little bit better, it's really just a tremendous way to have a major influence on so many areas of everybody's life.
Yeah, incredible. It's no surprise that these bigger companies are starting to look at, certain sectors like this. You said it yourself. They're doing the research. They see what people want. And it's awesome that Night Food's leading the way. Would you mind giving people kind of an overview on, what's been accomplished recently? I know you guys have had a pretty busy year.
Yeah, well, look, since the pandemic hit, it's been a tough time for a lot of companies, a lot of brands. There were a lot of companies that didn't survive. It's not an easy time for a young upstart brand to be launching and rolling out. There's a lot of things we couldn't do, can't do in-store demos. Consumers just have a different mindset when they're moving through the supermarket. Research indicates that in times like this, people will tend to gravitate towards the old brands and not really try new things. So it's definitely not a great time. It was not a great time, I should say, to have been launching. But there we were, and so you roll with it and you do the best you can. Now, we were renewed in all of our accounts, all of our major accounts, and it's not a small accomplishment as a new brand to go in there and, I'll say, not get thrown out, or to do well enough where you earn that second year, because there's a lot of brands that want that space that we got. There's a lot of competition. There's always new people, new brands coming up behind you, and to be able to get renewed, like I said, is a big accomplishment. And now that things are starting to revert back to normal a little bit, what we're seeing is, we're now rolling into Walmart. We announced recently over 1,000 Walmart stores, really all across the United States, which is amazing. We're conducting a test. We got contacted by one of the leading global hotel brands that wanted to put Nightfood in all of their properties across all their banners from coast to coast. And so we're testing for that. I think it's going to go very well. And, really, if you've got a hotel and you're trying to deliver better sleep to people, and you're already selling ice cream, which most of the hotels these days, they have that little freezer, how could you not offer the sleep-friendly Nightfood ice cream, right next to the Haagen-Dazs or the Ben and Jerry's? So there's been a lot going on. Obviously, we expect to have a lot of growth coming out of, the as the pandemic turns around. But really, just the Walmart launch here in the spring and the hotel test for later this year, we just think it's going to be potentially an explosive year for the company and for the brand.
Yeah, hopefully a great catalyst for another great year. And congratulations on kind of surviving the pandemic so far. I really want to kind of ask a question more just on a general industry from a thought leadership standpoint. Tell me a little bit more on, the future of this category, in terms of market size and some other stuff.
Yeah. So look, as I mentioned, it's $1 billion a week in the U.S. being spent on, nighttime snacks. We know most people prefer snacks with functional benefit, and we know most people want better sleep. So there's a huge overlap there for us. And we want to serve and solve the problem for those people. I've talked about it. I'm not bashful, and some people say that, Sean, you're running a really small company. Tone it down when you keep talking about billion-dollar category. But it's hard not to see the evolution of this category and the destiny that I feel it has into being that billion-dollar category because of how hot sleep is and how many people are snacking at night. So, I just see a situation where in a few years, yes, it's a billion-dollar category. Yes, Nightfood is leading the way. Yes, we're in multiple formats. And yes, there's going to be other players in the space, and that's fine. And people will start to potentially niche out of that, own their little space, their sub-segment potentially. But I just think that we're looking at the birth of what is going to be a huge, massive category, kind of the last great frontier, potentially in snacking. I mean, it's a day part that's totally unclaimed, and it's just really exciting. And again, seeing the big guys starting to pay attention to it just validates my confidence.
Yeah, well, you wouldn't have Walmart put you in 1,000 stores if they didn't believe in the category either. So
Yeah.
obviously, congratulations with that. Awesome. Thanks for coming on. Thanks for doing this. I guess as a final thing for people that want to learn more about Nightfood, how could they?
Well, so everybody can go to nightfood.com. We try to keep it simple and straightforward. They can learn about our products, our distribution, maybe find a store local to them. We're also publicly traded. We've got thousands of investors as of last year. About 18 months ago, we had over 5,000 investors. So I don't know what we have now, 7, 8, 9,000 maybe. And so anybody wanting information about the company and the opportunity and the investment can go to ir.nightfood.com. That's for investor relations, ir.nightfood.com. And people can follow us, on our Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook, all the social media. And, we're just happy to connect with people. Anybody wants to reach out, my personal email, Sean@nightfood.com.
Awesome. Well, Sean, thanks so much for joining.
Thanks as always, Jason. I appreciate it.